All right. Lance in Pennsylvania, then V-Man, Sean, Zeke, Sam, Don, try to get everybody. Lance, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Great to talk to you. The one thing, I'm awake. I follow everything you're saying, and I'm with you. The one thing, though, that I have to kind of question and never really hear it, and you just kind of touched on it a little bit, but as a normal, everyday citizen, I mean, I post up the links on my Facebook. I call my representatives and senators and say, don't say yes to this.
You got to do banner hangs. You got to put a pirate system to your neighborhood and broadcast videos or whatever, UHF, VHF, FM, AM. You got to get aggressive. You got to do what I do, drive around with bullhorns hanging off a car. Used to when I was only on radio one day a week, and I was only on Access TV one day a week, and that's the only media I could get, I'd drive around with bullhorns hanging off the roof of my car. I mean, you got to shake people out of their trance. You got to get aggressive. Let me tell you, government's so criminal, if you just start following city people around, you're going to find them committing crimes. I mean, I'm telling you, you scratch the paint in this rotten house, you're going to find evil right behind the paint. I mean, evil's taken over, man. You can't. It's all around you. You can go in any direction and run into these people. And you don't have to fix it all yourself. You just find your little evil and you get after it right there at point blank range. And there's nothing they can do. Let me tell you something. When good people take action, no amount of evil can stop you. They're scared of you. Evil people should be scared of good people. Good people got 10,000 times the power of evil. And it's time we stop being buffaloed by them. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's no problem, man. I would love to also hear you interview Roy Masters sometime, if you know who he is.
I interviewed him about 15 years ago. I need to get Roy Masters back on. He started the Talk Radio Network.
He did.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear you and him talk about
He talked about all this stuff. Yeah, get Roy Masters on. See if you can still get him. I think I even told him 6 months ago to try to get Roy Masters on. We have any luck with that? I think Roy Masters even sought us out at the time. Yeah, get him on. I don't even try to talk to Talk Radio Network, Clear Channel, all those people. You know, whatever. I appreciate your call, Lance. Good points. Let's go ahead and take another call here. V-Man in Ohio, you're on the air.
Yeah, Alex. Been waiting to talk to you, Alex. I need you to reiterate for the Tea Party that they are in grave danger and that they gotta stand behind and join the resistance. And I need you to do one thing for me. Tell me when the guns come out. And I want you to leave when the show go off and play that. What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one in your space? You're the pretender. What if I say y'all never surrender? Yeah.
I love it. What if I say that I'll never surrender? I love it. I love your passion. It's that energy. Listen, here's the issue. We've got to identify the globalists and identify their crimes. The pen is 10 times more mighty than the sword. We are never offensive. We're trying to wake up as many people as we can. And when the globalists pounce, they're going to have a good surprise for them. Because we're planting info weapon time bombs in everybody's mind so they know the truth. And when the tyranny comes in and certifies everything we've said, that's when the victory comes. But I don't want to go to that point. They could all just start going to jail like Bernie Madoff and Ken Lay. Again, we are going to face them down. Every time tyranny tries to take over, it doesn't succeed. We need to face them down and get it. Look, let me tell you, they're scared. You know how many sources we've got in government? 70+% of all military donations, both parties in presidential, go to Ron Paul, who's coming up next. You go to Infowars.com, there's a big data page up there. Top story linked in red. And it is titled Presidential Frontrunner, Government is Establishing Martial Law. The government has proven itself totally traitorous when they let Obama launch that war in Libya without congressional approval. Now, here's about 10 minutes of an interview I did, the second half. This is the second half. The first half it is up at Infowars.com. The whole interview is posted in that data page with the sponsors of the bills admitting it censors the internet, admitting it's the end of free speech, admitting they can secretly grab you and throw you in a dungeon for any reason. Again, there's the headline. Presidential frontrunner warns martial law being established in America. Infowars.com. Get the link. Get it out to everybody. Now, here is some of the key parts of the interview with Ron Paul where he talks about Fast and Furious, and Holder needs some criminal charges for his false flag. Now, this is just common sense. This is just being an American, a constitutionalist. But in a world of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
Doing that to us.
I saw the Republicans here in Austin are going to protest Eric Holder, the Attorney General, today because he wants the UN to oversee our elections. And I agree, that's certainly out of control and treasonous. But this is the guy caught perjuring himself, and the memos CBS released last week show that they said they were going to blame the guns in Mexico on the Second Amendment. Is that not a form of false flag against our most basic of rights, sir? And what would you do, if president, to people like Eric Holder?
Well, he should be immediately fired, and then there should be an investigation and find out if charges should be made. And that's obviously over the top. And all these kind of sting operations and false flag, this is criminal. And I think they do it constantly. I think they were doing that when there was this so-called attempt to kill the Saudi or the Iranian ambassador. You know, that kind of stuff is just way too much. But no, they should be investigating, and you know, that's one thing I think the Government House Committee is doing a pretty good job at investigating that. But I don't know whether charges will be made, but he deserves to have charges, you know, up against him.
Well said, and you got it right the first time. The claim of the used car sales wanting to kill the Saudi ambassador, and even mainstream media had to admit that was totally phony and a pretext to attack Iran.
Yeah, that was the real excuse to blame it on them, and we know that is. You know, I just wonder about that, whether that guy will ever get tried, because if he does, maybe the truth will come out. And sometimes they won't try these people because they don't want the truth to come out. So. It's just another propaganda stunt as far as I'm concerned.
Now they want to go after Syria. It's now admitted the U.S., Israel, and others are staging giant military attacks inside Iran. What do you make of Congress not being consulted on that?
Well, unfortunately, that's been happening for a long time, and Congress is just totally negligent on this. And, you know, the other night when they were talking about this in the debates, you know, on what the president's responsibility is when they, you know, shoot down or are able to get one of our drones. And the argument was, should we go in and get it, or should we just go in and destroy it? And I tried to get attention on that. My suggestion would be, why don't we avoid it by not sending drones over a sovereign nation just looking for a problem to start another war? I mean, they never talked about, you know, the lack of wisdom of having been over there and losing a drone over a foreign nation which we consider an enemy. I just think that is it's a reflection of a policy that has to be changed.
What's your view on the NDAA and the Inde Posse Comitatus and the declaration of the whole world as a battlefield?
Yeah, well, I think the significant difference is not so much in what they have done, but the announcement and the arrogance of it all, that they actually put it into law. You know, our government's been involved with our CIA and involvement in overthrowing governments, and this for a long, long time. And, of course, last spring, I guess it was in February, where the administration admitted that they could assassinate American citizens, and now they're putting it into law. So this to me is an extremely wrong way to go. This is a giant step. This should be the biggest news going right now. It's literally legalizing martial law. And yet, you know, in our debates, how often does it come up? It didn't come up at all. You know, and then the arrogance, and this is the one thing Rand got stopped, the arrogance of them trying to push through on their voice vote, that if you go through a trial and found innocent, the government wants the right to put you in prison for life anyway. And fortunately, they wanted to do that in voice vote, and he finally got a vote on that, and that was canceled out. But that is arrogance of the administration and neglect of the Congress in using their authority and responsibility, as well as the people. That's why it's up to so many of us now to wake the people up, because they don't probably realize the significance of it. But this is big. This is big. You know, the monetary issue is big, all these things I've talked about. But this step where they can literally arrest American people, American citizens, and put them away without a trial, and you heard Lindsey Graham say, well, if they ask for a lawyer, tell them no lawyer for you. I mean, that is arrogant and bold and dangerous. Let's hope and pray that we can get that kind of stuff reversed.
Congressman, we've only got a few minutes left with you here, and I wanted to continue looking at the presidential race. What would be the first three things that you would do, the first three goals, when you got into office, when you were sworn in January of 2013?
there are three big goals, but you might not be able to do as much all by yourself the first few days. But you could change the foreign policy immediately and send a message to the world that we are not looking for more wars. We're looking for, a more peaceful solution to the problems, and that is to start bringing our troops home, which would send a message that money is going to be spent at home instead of overseas. Might send a message to the markets that things will be different. But then, other than that, then it would be working on the budget to cut the spending. My proposal that if we're serious about this, we have to cut the budget. I want to cut it first year at $1 trillion. And the other thing that must be changed is curtailing the power of the Federal Reserve to monetize debt and get something passed where we can either or both, restrain the Federal Reserve to act on its own, to print trillions and trillions of dollars and bailing out everybody around the world, as well as a thorough audit of the Federal Reserve, and then find out, find out exactly what they have been doing, and then aim for legalizing the competing currency. Some of those messages, if we change our foreign policy, bring our troops home, start balancing the budget, you don't have to wait for everything to be perfect. It's just the direction we're going. People might say, hey, this is different, and maybe some optimism would come back, which we need a lot of. Beautifully said.
What can we do on the campaign trail briefly? And then finally, I know you've written a piece today that's on your congressional site. It's also on Infowars.com about forced drug research where they're trying to psychologically screen the kids. Internet kill switch admitted in the Washington Post. All of this is happening. But what can we do to ensure that you win in Iowa, Congressman, in closing?
Well, to continue to do what we're doing, and if they're not anybody's not involved, want to go to Ron Paul 2012 and find out, because people can phone from home. They certainly can raise funds. People are going out to Iowa. There's activity, but there's a lot of electronic activity going on, with automatic phoning and different things that's done. This is very, very important. So we're in the lap here right now, so it's very important that we get maximum effort made.
All right. I was about to say, now is the time. Okay, that's just part of the interview. That's kind of the tail end of it when he got into the NDAA and the martial law and the rest of it. But the first half of the interview is up at Infowars.com. In the article, Presidential Frontrunner Warns Martial Law Being Established in America. And we are an information war. Speaking of hard copies of things, if you order the Everything Special or the other books, videos, ball caps, T-shirts, everything that helps fund our operation, but more importantly, get the word out. If you order by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., it's guaranteed to be shipped out to you via UPS or USPS so that you get it by Friday or Saturday and can have it for Christmas as a gift. And the Everything Special on Infowars.com is all 18 of my films on DVD. That's 18 different gifts you can give people for $99.95. That's over a 70% discount. It's normally $360. It's $99.95, and this will end with the end of this month. So it's the biggest special I've ever done because I just want to get the information out, and I want to thank all of you for your support over the years, buying the books, the videos, and the rest of it, because that's what funds our InfoWar along with our great sponsors. We appreciate you clicking on the links at Infowars.com and supporting them as well. We're also carrying a great new film, The Noble Lie, which exposes Oklahoma City as a total inside job. Key to get that information out to everyone. Again, Infowars.com. You can order tonight or tomorrow morning and be guaranteed to get that before Christmas. And, of course, we have a big discount right now at Prisonplanet.tv to see the nightly news and the rest of it. All right, great job with the crew. Lord willing, pray for me. I'll see you back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, and pray for America, pray for the world, pray for liberty. God bless you all. FM AM, you got to get aggressive. You got to do what I do, drive around with bullhorns hanging off a car. Used to when I was only on radio one day a week, and I was only on Access TV one day a week, and that's the only media I could get, I'd drive around with bullhorns hanging off the roof of my car. I mean, you got to shake people out of their trance. You got to get aggressive. Let me tell you, government's so criminal, if you just start following city people around, you're going to find them committing crimes. I mean, I'm telling you, you scratch the paint in this rotten house, you're going to find evil right behind the paint. I mean, evil's taken over, man. You can't, it's all around you. You can go in any direction and run into these people.
And never really hear it. And you just kind of touched on it a little bit. But as a normal, everyday citizen, I mean, I post up the links on my Facebook. I call my representatives and senators and say, don't say yes to this.
You got to do banner hangs. You got to put a pirate system to your neighborhood and broadcast videos or whatever, UHF, VHF. And you don't have to fix it all yourself. You just find your little evil and you get after it right there at point blank range. And there's nothing they can do. Let me tell you something. When good people take action, no amount of evil can stop you. They're scared of you. Evil people should be scared of good people. Good people got 10,000 times the power of evil. All right. Lance in Pennsylvania, then V-Man, Sean, Zeke, Sam, Don, try to get everybody. Lance, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Great to talk to you. The one thing, I'm awake. I follow everything you're saying, and I'm with you. The one thing, though, that I have to kind of question and